The story usually goes like this. A young singer meets a powerful boss, and suddenly they get every hit song. It looks like magic. But the industry has always whispered that it wasn't magic. It was a private understanding. We are diving into the scandals and arrangements that allegedly built the biggest careers in R&B history. 1. Diana Ross and Berry Gordy. When you think of 1960s music, you think of Motown. And when you think of Motown, you think of Diana Ross. Motown was the creation of one man, Berry Gordy. He was a genius who built a music empire from nothing. He had a roster of superstars, The Temptations, The Four Tops, Stevie Wonder, and the queen bees of the label, The Supremes. But here's the kicker. The Supremes started with 3 amazing singers, but Berry Gordy soon made one of them the star, Diana Ross. The group was even renamed Diana Ross and the Supremes. This caused a lot of jealousy. Why did Diana get all the attention? Well, the whisper that followed them for their entire career was that Diana and Berry Gordy were more than just singer and boss. It was an open secret that they had a very close, intimate relationship that lasted for years. This rumored arrangement, many people felt, was the reason she got the best songs, the most screen time, and the biggest push. The other singers at Motown, like Martha Reeves, felt they were pushed aside. Even Gladys Knight has said she felt like Motown was the Diana Ross show. It's a rumor that suggests the Queen of Motown might have had a very personal deal with the king. But Diana wasn't the only one. Decades later, another Queen of Pop would be discovered by a powerful man who was also rumored to be her biggest fan, in private. 2. Whitney Houston and Clive Davis. Whitney Houston had one of the greatest voices in history. No one can deny that. But in the music world, a great voice isn't always enough. You need a guide. You need a mentor. And Whitney found the most powerful one in the world, Clive Davis. Clive Davis was the head of Arista Records. He was a living legend, known for finding superstars. He discovered Whitney when she was just a teenager, singing in a small club. He signed her immediately, and to put it mildly, he molded her entire career. He picked her songs. He crafted her image. He presented her to the world on a silver platter. Their bond was incredibly close, but many people have overlooked just how close. The rumors in the industry were that their relationship was more than just professional. Whispers of a deep, personal entanglement followed them for years. People wondered if this special friendship was why she got the biggest budgets and the most massive marketing campaigns the world had ever seen. She wasn't just his artist, she was his personal project. Their late-night recording sessions and private meetings became the stuff of legend. Their bond was undeniable, but it was always defended as a platonic father-daughter dynamic. Still, the whispers remain. But, as close as they were, their relationship was nothing compared to the next one on our list, a partnership that was so controlling it became a golden cage by Mariah Carey and Tommy Mottola. In 1988, a young singer named Mariah Carey went to a party. She had a demo tape in her hand. She managed to pass that tape to the most powerful man in music, Tommy Mottola, the head of Sony Music. The story goes that he listened to it in his car on the way home, immediately turned around, and spent the rest of the night looking for her. It sounds like a fairy tale. But the thing nobody tells you is what happened next. Tommy Mottola didn't just make Mariah a star. He married her. And this wasn't just a happy romance. It was, according to rumors, and even Mariah herself later, a story of total control. Tommy was more than 20 years older than her. He built her a massive mansion that she called Sing Sing, like the prison. He controlled what she wore, who she talked to, and what kind of music she made. The whisper was that she got the biggest push in music history, a budget that blew Whitney's out of the water because she was the boss's wife. She was his property. She eventually broke free from the marriage and the control, but many people still believe her career was launched because of that deeply personal and controlling arrangement. It was a deal made in a mansion, but it felt like a prison. Speaking of label bosses, our next story is about the first lady of another huge R&B label and the rumors that she was the favorite. 4. Toni Braxton and L.A. Reid and Babyface. In the 1990s, if you wanted a hit R&B song, you went to two men, L.A. Reid and Babyface. They were producers who started their own record label, LaFace Records. They were unstoppable, and their very first, biggest star was Toni Braxton. Toni's voice was incredible, a deep, smoky sound that was totally unique. Her first album sold over 10 million copies. She was a global superstar. But here's where the whispers start. LaFace had other amazing artists, most famously the supergroup TLC, and the rumor was that there was serious drama behind the scenes. The story goes that TLC often felt like they were second place. Why? Because, as the Whisper Network said, Toni Braxton had a very special, intimate relationship with one of the label's bosses, L.A. Reid. It was rumored that this personal entanglement meant she got the first pick of all the best songs that Babyface wrote. TLC would later complain that some of the hit songs they wanted were given to Toni instead. This rumored favoritism created a lot of tension. Toni was the first lady of LaFace in more ways than one, or so the story goes. A favorite singer getting the best songs is one thing, but our next story is much, much darker. It's about a teenage singer and a producer whose partnership became one of the biggest scandals in music history. 5. Aaliyah and R. Kelly. In 1994, a 15-year-old singer named Aaliyah, or Aliyah, dropped her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. The album was a massive hit, and it was written and produced entirely by one man, R. Kelly. At the time, he was one of the biggest R&B stars in the world. Their musical chemistry was obvious, but what many overlooked at the time were the dark rumors swirling around them. He wasn't just her producer, he was her mentor, and the whispers said he was much, much more. She was his young protege, and he was very protective. Then the bombshell dropped. A magazine uncovered what was alleged to be a marriage certificate. It claimed that the 27-year-old R. Kelly had secretly married the 15-year-old Aaliyah. This was a massive scandal. The marriage was quickly undone, and their families denied everything. Aaliyah stopped working with him immediately, but the damage was done. The rumor forever attached to her debut album was that it was the product of a deeply controversial and illegal private partnership. It's a story that is much darker than a simple casting couch rumor. It's a story that still shocks the industry today. From one dark story to another, our next star's career was also defined by a partnership, one that she had to fight to escape. 6. Tina Turner and Ike. Tina Turner is a global icon, a survivor, a rock and roll queen. But before she was the superstar in sold-out stadiums, she was part of a duo, Ike and Tina Turner. Ike Turner was a musician and band leader who discovered a young singer named Anna Mae Bullock. He gave her the name Tina Turner and made her his lead singer. Together, they were a powerhouse, but behind the scenes, it was a nightmare. Ike wasn't just her band leader, he was her husband, and he was famously controlling. He managed every part of her life. He controlled the money, the music, and her. The thing nobody tells you is that this control was also part of their business. Ike made the deals. He was the boss. But the act was all about Tina's incredible energy and voice. For years, the industry rumor was that Ike used his control over Tina to get what he wanted from record executives and promoters. He was selling her talent, but he was the one making all the arrangements. She famously escaped that relationship with nothing but her name and fought her way back to the top. But her early career was built on a partnership that was controlling and, to put it mildly, terrifying. Escaping a controlling partner is one thing, but what about a star who was in a secret partnership with her manager for years and no one even knew? 7. Janet Jackson and Renee Elizondo. Janet Jackson did the impossible. She stepped out of the shadow of her megastar brother Michael and became one of the biggest pop icons on earth. Her albums Control and Rhythm Nation 1814 changed music. She was a symbol of female empowerment. She did it with her creative partners, the producers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. But there was another man who was always with her, her manager and creative director, Renee Elizondo. Renee Elizondo. He was her co-writer, her video director, and, as the world would find out years later, her secret husband. You see, for almost a decade, Janet and Renee were married. They kept it a total secret from the public. He was involved in every single career decision she made. This was a complete shock to the world when they finally split. The rumor mill went crazy. Had their entire partnership been built on this secret intimacy? Was he pushing her career so hard because he was her husband, not just her manager? It made people look at her career in a whole new light. It was a private arrangement in the truest sense of the word, hidden from the whole world. A secret husband is a big deal. But our next story is about a power couple that didn't hide their relationship. They used it to build an empire. 8. Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Today, they are the undisputed king and queen of music. A billion-dollar power couple. But back in the early 2000s, Beyoncé was the lead singer of Destiny's Child, and Jay-Z was the king of hip-hop and the head of Rockefeller Records. When Beyoncé decided to go solo, she needed to make a huge splash. Her first single? Crazy in Love. And who was the featured artist on that track? Jay-Z. The song was a monster hit. At the same time, rumors started flying that the two were dating. They kept their relationship very private for years, but the whispers were everywhere. Was this just a romance, or was it a brilliant business move? The thing nobody tells you is that by pairing up, they crossed over into each other's audiences. She gave him pop appeal. He gave her street cred. Many people have whispered that this partnership was the most calculated move in music history. By becoming an item, they created a feedback loop of success. Every song they did together was an event. It wasn't just a personal arrangement. It was the foundation of an empire. But not all power couple rumors are so positive. Our next story is about a very famous musical duo whose marriage to the boss's sister raised a lot of eyebrows. 9. Marvin Gaye and Anna Gordy. Back at Motown, Berry Gordy wasn't the only powerful one. His whole family was involved, and his older sister, Anna Gordy, was a songwriter and record executive herself. She was sharp, powerful, and 17 years older than one of Motown's rising stars, Marvin Gaye. In 1963, Marvin Gaye married Anna Gordy. To put it mildly, this was a huge deal inside the company. Here was a young, handsome singer marrying the boss's big sister. It was a power move, and the whispers started immediately. Did Marvin marry for love? Or did he marry for access, people wondered. Suddenly, he wasn't just another singer on the roster. He was family. He was Berry Gordy's brother-in-law. This connection, many believed, gave him a level of creative freedom that other artists at Motown didn't get. It allowed him to push the boundaries, especially later in his career with his Message albums. Their relationship was famously stormy and ended in a bitter split, but many people believe that his marriage into the Gordy dynasty was the secret key to his career. Marrying the boss's sister is one way to get ahead. But what if you were the boss's best friend? 10. Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy. Smokey Robinson is a true Motown legend, a gifted songwriter, a smooth singer, and a sharp businessman. He and his group, The Miracles, were one of the first acts signed to Motown. But their connection went much, much deeper. You see, Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy weren't just colleagues, they were childhood best friends. Berry was the founder, but Smokey was the heart. He even became the vice president of Motown. Their bond was incredibly tight. Now, no one would deny Smokey's talent. The man wrote over 4,000 songs. But in a company full of superstars, this special friendship caused a lot of whispers. The rumor was that Smokey always got his way. Because he was Berry's best friend, his songs were always heard first. His projects always got a yes, and his opinion mattered more than anyone else's. Other artists supposedly felt that no matter how hard they worked, they could never compete with Berry's personal favorite. It's a different kind of intimate partnership, not a romantic one, but a brotherly bond that, according to rumors, put him at the front of the line for decades. A bond with the boss is one thing, but what about a partnership that was so odd, people still can't figure it out? 11. Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones. Michael Jackson was the king of pop, a talent the world had never seen. Quincy Jones was a music master, a legend from the jazz world. On paper, they were a strange pair, but when they got together, they made magic. They created Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, three of the biggest albums of all time. Their partnership was purely creative. But this is Hollywood, and people love to talk. The rumor here wasn't about a physical entanglement, but about an extreme level of creative favoritism. Quincy was the producer, but Michael was his muse. The whispers said that Quincy was so obsessed with Michael's talent that he gave him everything. He allegedly pushed aside other artists and projects just to focus on Michael. Songwriters would bring Quincy a hit song, and he would say, "This is great, I'm giving it to Michael." This created jealousy. Other artists who wanted to work with the master producer supposedly couldn't get in the door. It was the Michael and Quincy show. It was a special relationship of a different kind, a creative bond so tight that it locked everyone else out. This kind of favoritism is common. But what about a star who was so talented, yet had to fight for years to get out of the background? 12. Luther Vandross and record execs. For years, Luther Vandross was the best-kept secret in music. He was the background singer that everyone wanted. He sang backup for David Bowie, for Bette Midler, for Chaka Khan. His voice was like silk, but he couldn't get a solo deal. He was a bit heavier, and he wasn't the look that record executives wanted in the flashy 1970s. So he stayed in the background. But Luther was smart. He was a producer and a songwriter himself. He started making his own deals. The whispers in the industry were that Luther had to use more than just his voice to get his shot. The rumor was that he had to form special friendships with certain producers and executives. These were private arrangements made behind closed doors to get him out of the background and into the spotlight. Finally, in 1981, he got his solo deal, and his album Never Too Much was a massive hit. He became one of the biggest R&B stars ever. But the rumors have always persisted that for him to break through, he had to make a personal bargain that other artists didn't. It's a sad rumor that a talent that big had to do anything but sing. But our next star also had a famous partnership that was full of whispers with the Puff Daddy of Bad Boy Records. 13. Mary J. Blige and Diddy. In the early 90s, a new sound was born. hip-hop soul, and the undisputed queen was Mary J. Blige. She was raw, she was real, and she had a powerhouse voice. The man who discovered her and crafted her image was Sean Puffy Combs, or Diddy. He was the head of Bad Boy Records, and Mary was his first and biggest star. Their partnership was electric. He gave her street flavor-filled beats, and she poured her heart out over them. But their relationship was also famously explosive. The whispers were that they were more than just artist and producer. They had a private partnership that was intense and stormy. Diddy was known for his controlling style, and the rumor was that he and Mary were deeply entangled. This rumor suggested that their personal connection was why she got such a massive push. At Bad Boy, Mary was the priority. She was the queen of Bad Boy. Their special friendship, as people called it, defined the sound of 90s R&B. But like many of these intense partnerships, it was full of drama. A stormy relationship is one thing, but what about a singer who married her manager? And he was almost 40 years her senior. 14. Aretha Franklin and Ted White. Aretha Franklin was the queen of soul, a force of nature. But when she was a young singer in the 1960s, she made a move that shocked everyone. In 1961, at just 19 years old, she married a man named Ted White. Ted White was a local promoter in Detroit with a bad boy reputation. He was also much older, and as soon as they were married, he took over her career. He became her manager. This arrangement was immediately talked about. The whispers were that Aretha, a young gospel singer, had gotten entangled with a powerful and controlling man to help her career. Ted White was known for being tough, and some said he was the reason she got the big contract with Columbia Records. Their relationship was famously troubled and full of drama, but for the first crucial decade of her career, her husband was her boss. Many people believe this personal entanglement was a calculated career move, a private deal that helped her get the power she needed to become the queen. Marrying a manager is a classic story. Our next star did the same thing, marrying a man who would guide her entire career. 15. Patti LaBelle and Armstead Edwards. Patti LaBelle. The name itself is legendary. She is the godmother of soul, a voice that can shatter glass or soothe a broken heart. Her career has been a marathon, not a sprint. From her early days as the front woman of the trailblazing group Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells, to her reinvention as a glam rock goddess, to her ultimate ascension as a solo R&B superstar, she has remained a towering figure in music. And for the vast majority of that incredible, decades-long journey, one man was the architect behind the scenes, Armstead Edwards. But he was never just her husband. That's the fairy tale they told the public. The reality was far more complex. He was her manager, her protector, her confidant, and her strategist. They first crossed paths in the 1960s. He was a humble schoolteacher, and she was a singer on the rise. They fell in love, and in 1969, they married. It wasn't long before Armstead put his own career aside to take the reins of hers. From that moment on, their marriage and her career became one and the same. For over 30 years, every decision, every negotiation, every tour, every album, and every business deal was handled by her husband. This was the textbook definition of a private partnership. Their entire life was a closed loop. Their marriage was the business. LaBelle Inc. was a family affair. And while their personal relationship was, by all accounts, strong and devoted for a very long time, the rumors in the industry were relentless. The whisper was that this arrangement gave Patti an unassailable advantage. Think about it. Other singers had managers who worked from 9 to 5, managers who had other clients, managers who took a 20% commission and went home. Patti had a manager who was 100% dedicated to her, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He wasn't just working for a paycheck. He was working for his wife, for his family, for their shared fortune. This intimate bond, many in the industry whispered, was the true secret to her astonishing longevity. It was a partnership where the line between personal and professional wasn't just blurred, it was completely, utterly erased. He knew her every mood, her every insecurity, her every strength. He knew when to push her, when to protect her, and how to negotiate for her with a ferocity that no hired gun manager could ever muster. He wasn't just an agent, he was a gatekeeper. But what happens when that all-powerful line is erased and the relationship eventually goes bad? Our next star had a very similar story, but the ending was far more tragic and explosive. 16. Chaka Khan and record execs. Chaka Khan has a voice that doesn't just move mountains, it is the mountain. A primal force of nature, she exploded onto the scene in the 1970s as the fiery, soulful lead singer of the multiracial funk band, Rufus. She was the clear, undeniable star. The band was a hit machine, but Chaka was the main event, and she knew it. She had ambitions that went far beyond being the girl singer in a band, even one as successful as Rufus. She wanted to go solo. There was just one problem. In the 1970s, record labels were not in the business of breaking up their cash cows. Rufus was selling millions of records. Why would the executives at her label, ABC Records, agree to let their biggest star, walk away and start from scratch? The official story is that Chaka was determined. She had to fight tooth and nail in grueling boardroom battles with the powerful, cigar-chomping executives who held her contract. But the whispers in the industry painted a much grittier, more desperate picture. The rumor, one that has persisted for decades, was that it was more than just a fight. It was a special negotiation. The gossip was that to get the green light for her solo career, Chaka had to get up close and personal with some of the most powerful men in charge. It was a classic and tragic casting couch allegation. The industry was rife with stories that she had to make a special arrangement to get out from under the shadow of her own band. These weren't simple meetings. The whispers implied that these negotiations happened behind closed doors, at private parties, and in hotel suites. It was a rumor that suggested she had to convince these executives, one by one, that she had what it took to be a solo star, and that she was willing to do whatever it took. She finally got her wish in 1978. Her debut solo album was given the green light. And what was her very first solo song? The monster feminist anthem to be, I'm Every Woman, a song produced by the legendary Arif Mardin, the very same man who would go on to produce our next star. This next story is about another powerhouse singer, one who also had to fight for her freedom, and who was also haunted by rumors about her fight for creative control. 17. Anita Baker and record execs. Anita Baker's voice is not just music, it's an entire atmosphere. It's pure luxury, like sonic velvet. In the mid-1980s, her album Rapture wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural event. It defined the quiet storm genre and became the soundtrack for a generation. But before Rapture, before the Grammys, and before the superstardom, Anita Baker was a struggling singer trapped in a nightmare. She had talent for days, but she was legally bound to a small independent label called Beverly Glenn. She had recorded her first album with them, but the relationship soured. She wanted out. She wanted creative control. She wanted to make the music she wanted to make. Instead, she ended up in a series of nasty, protracted legal battles. The label owned her, and they refused to let her go. At one point, she was so broke and legally stifled that she was forced to return to her old job as a waitress in Detroit, legally barred from singing professionally. Finally, she won her freedom. She was able to sign with a major label, Elektra Records, where she would go on to create Rapture. But how? How did a broke waitress with no power manage to defeat a record label in court? The official story is that Elektra's lawyers were just that good, but the rumors that followed her for years told a different story. The whisper was that she didn't just get help from a lawyer, she got help from a single, very powerful executive at her new label. The gossip was that this high-level exec didn't just see her talent, he wanted a personal relationship with her. According to the whispers, he personally fronted the money, not the label, to buy out her old contract. It wasn't a standard corporate signing, it was a personal acquisition. According to the gossip, this intimate partnership was the golden key that unlocked her from her Beverly Glen prison. It was a private deal that gave her the money, the legal muscle, and most importantly, the artistic freedom to make the album she always wanted to make. It's a rumor that suggests her Rapture came at a very high, very personal price. Personal deals are one thing, but our next star had a famously close, all-consuming relationship with his manager, a woman who, after a life-altering tragedy, was accused of the ultimate betrayal. 18. Teddy Pendergrass and Tasmania DuBois. Teddy Pendergrass. Just the name made women swoon. In the 1970s, he wasn't just a superstar, he was a phenomenon. After leaving Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, his solo career exploded. He was the Black Elvis, a symbol of raw, masculine, soulful power. He was known for his legendary ladies-only concerts, where thousands of women would scream and throw, well, you know. His image was everything. And the person who crafted and controlled that image was his manager, Tasmania DuBois, whom he simply called Taz. Their relationship was infamously, incredibly close. She wasn't just his manager, she was his everything, his shadow, his protector, his business brain. She controlled his schedule, his finances, his public image, and, according to many, his personal life. The whispers in the industry were always there. Their bond was deeply personal, far beyond a simple client-manager arrangement. The gossip was that she was the real power, the true man in the operation, a formidable woman who managed one of the most hyper-masculine brands in music history. Then tragedy struck. In 1982, at the absolute height of his fame, Teddy was in a horrific car accident. His Rolls-Royce crashed, and he was left paralyzed from the chest down. His life and his career as a S symbol was over in an instant. And who was in the car with him? A woman named Tenica Watson, who was not his manager and who was, as the press later revealed, a transgender woman. This was a massive scandal. It threatened to destroy the entire image Taz had so carefully built. After the accident, as Teddy lay in a hospital bed, Taz took even more control of his life and career. This led to years of nasty rumors and bitter legal battles. Teddy's own family, and even Teddy himself, later accused her of using their special relationship and the chaos of the accident to seize control of his entire fortune. The whisper was that she used the scandal as leverage. She cleaned up the story, managed the press, and in exchange, locked down power of attorney. The whole story was a tragic mess of personal entanglements, unchecked power, and heartbreaking tragedy. It remains one of the most whispered about and darkest private arrangements in the history of R&B. What if I told you that some of the most well-known R&B artists had secret relationships with their fellow co-stars? Behind the music industry's glamour and sparkle, many of these relationships were complicated by infidelity and conflict. From your favorite Jay-Z and Beyoncé, who are known as the power couple, to Chris and Karrueche, who ended their long-time marriage due to infidelity. Here are 20 R&B stars who cheated with their co-stars. Beyoncé, Giselle Knowles, and Sean Corey Carter. Jay-Z and Beyoncé started dating in the early 2000s, but they kept their relationship private for a while. As one of the most well-known couples in music, they frequently worked together on songs like 03 Bonnie and Clyde. In 2008, Beyoncé and Jay-Z got married in secret without making the public aware of it. Close friends and relatives attended their private wedding. Their first child, Blue Ivy, was born in 2012, and in 2017 they welcomed twins, Sir and Rumi. For years, Beyoncé and Jay-Z have been a prominent power couple, but there have also been rumors of infidelity surrounding their relationship. Following several public disclosures and incidents, the rumors and drama surrounding their relationship increased. Many people believed that Beyoncé's album Lemonade was a reaction to Jay-Z's adultery. With references to a woman dubbed Becky with the Good Hair, the album's lyrics and images seemed to hint to Jay-Z's infidelity, which stoked rumors about who his purported mistress was. Songs like Hold Up and Sorry seem to deal with themes of heartbreak, betrayal, and retaliation. Because of the album's intense emotional content, many people thought Beyoncé was disclosing intimate facts about her marriage. Jay-Z's album 444, which was released shortly after Lemonade, clearly addressed his infidelity. In songs like Family Feud and 444, Jay-Z acknowledged his infidelity and apologized for it. He freely admitted that he had harmed Beyoncé, but he was also making an effort to mend their relationship. In interviews, Jay-Z acknowledged cheating and said that although his marriage had faced significant difficulties, they were now in a better place. In 2018, Beyoncé and Jay-Z even embarked on a joint tour called the On the Run 2, which appeared to be an indication that they had made up and were on the move. In 2018, the couple published an album called Everything Is Love, which included songs that expressed feelings of reconciliation and healing. The positive tone and teamwork of the record gave the impression that they had overcome their marital problems. Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. Midway through the 1980s, Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown first crossed paths. While Bobby was the lead singer of the popular R&B group New Edition, Whitney was already a rising celebrity at the time, having published her debut album in 1985. They hit it off right away. And even though their public personas couldn't be more different, Bobby being known for his rebellious attitude, Whitney for her pure, wholesome image, they ended up dating. In 1992, both of them got married, and in 1993, they welcomed a daughter, Bobby Christina Brown. In the media's extensive coverage of their wedding, Whitney was frequently portrayed as the more refined and polished person, whereas Bobby was recognized for his exuberant performances and bad boy persona. Their mutual battles with powder and alcohol abuse were among the biggest obstacles in their marriage. Whitney and Bobby had both openly talked about their struggles with addiction, which contributed significantly to the problems in their marriage. Bobby also had problems with powder and alcohol, while Whitney was reported to have battled crack cocaine and prescription medications. Infidelity was the subject of many allegations and rumors on both sides of the marriage. Whitney Houston was accused of being disloyal at different times during their marriage, while Bobby Brown was known to have a history of infidelity. Whitney and Bobby hardly ever addressed these claims directly, but they were a part of the media circus that surrounded their relationship. Their actions in public occasionally pointed to their marital difficulties. Rumors concerning Bobby's extramarital affairs were common in the 1990s, and Whitney's battles with addiction prompted people to speculate about her infidelity as well. Both of them, however, kept their private lives somewhat private, despite the fact that their substance problems, legal struggles, and public altercations further fueled rumors. Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown have separated after 14 years of marriage. In 2008, the divorce was finalized. By this time, their marriage had already been marred by a number of public events, such as Whitney's substance abuse, Bobby's legal issues, and their shared struggles with the demands of celebrity. Both celebrities went on with their personal and professional lives after the divorce, which signaled the end of a chapter in their lives. Usher and Chili Rosanda Thomas. When Usher and Chili first met in the late 1990s, their relationship gained popularity very fast. With his 1997 album, My Way, Usher was starting to make a name for himself as a solo artist, and Chili was a member of the wildly popular R&B group TLC. When they began dating, both of them were at the height of their careers. The pair became one of the most talked about couples in the entertainment world when they went public with their relationship in the early 2000s. They frequently appeared together in public, at award presentations, and in music videos because of their undeniable chemistry. Many of their admirers were startled when the pair split up in 2003. Although Usher and Chili never made their reasons for splitting public, Usher's alleged infidelity soon became a hot topic. In interviews, Chili has admitted that their split was challenging and that she had hoped their romance would succeed, but in the end, their disagreements caused it to fail. Usher's 2004 album, Confessions, which was one of the most important albums in his career, was released soon after his split from Chili. Several of the album's tracks, especially Confessions, the title track, sparked speculation among many fans and critics that they were about his relationship with Chili. Throughout the song, Usher fights with the idea of being honest with a spouse and admits to adultery. This made many believe that a key source of inspiration for the record was Usher's suspected infidelity during his relationship with Chili. Chili has talked about her relationship with Usher in a number of interviews, saying that their split was difficult, yet essential. She has also discussed the things she learned from the relationship, specifically the significance of having a partner that respects and values you and your sense of self-worth. Although Chili has been candid about her heartbreak over their breakup, she has made it clear that she wanted someone who was genuinely loyal to her in the end. Mary J. Blige and Kendu Isaacs. During the early 2000s, Mary J. Blige got acquainted with Kendu Isaacs. She had Kendu as her manager at the time. Their professional relationship soon evolved into a love one. As Mary was leaving a tumultuous relationship, Kendu provided her with solace and security. In 2003, Kendu Isaacs and Mary J. Blige were married. Mary often talked about how Kendu had given her life balance and contentment, suggesting that their union was a happy one. In addition to being Mary's husband, Kendu served as her manager during their marriage, and the two seemed to have a very strong, cohesive working relationship. The couple's relationship was regarded as one of the most well-known in the music industry, and they frequently appeared in public. Mary frequently talked about how Kendu helped her stay grounded, particularly following her battles with addiction and other personal problems in the 1990s. Their relationship was praised by many admirers who saw it as a powerful illustration of love and cooperation. Their marriage started to face difficulties over time. Accusations of infidelity were a major factor in their split. Their relationship soured after it was revealed that Kendu Isaacs had cheated on Mary. Kendu's reported relationships were among the irreconcilable issues Mary cited in her 2016 divorce filing. Mary found the split especially painful because she had openly expressed her love and dedication for Kendu. She talked about how hard it was to trust someone with whom she had been so intimate on a personal and professional level in interviews. Following their divorce, Mary published a number of heartfelt songs, particularly Strength of a Woman, which described the hurt and betrayal she experienced. Chris Brown and Karrueche Tran. Karrueche Tran and Chris Brown met in 2011 through acquaintances they had in common. Chris soon became acquainted with Karrueche, who at the time was a model and aspiring actress, and their relationship developed out of the spotlight in the beginning. Chris and Karrueche gained recognition in the R&B and entertainment industries as soon as they started dating. At the time, Chris was a worldwide celebrity who was still getting over the highly publicized aftermath from his 2009 attack on Rihanna. In contrast, Karrueche was becoming more well-known as a model and actress, and as a result of her relationship with Chris. The fact that Chris continued to be in contact with Rihanna was one of the most distinctive aspects of his relationship with Karrueche. Rumors that Chris was still seeing Rihanna persisted even after he started dating Karrueche. Chris and Karrueche relationship was under constant strain as a result of the media's constant speculations about Chris's affections for Rihanna, particularly when the two were seen together in public. Chris was publicly accused of cheating on Karrueche with multiple women in 2013, which heightened the infidelity allegations about the couple. His relationships with other women were widely publicized by the media, particularly while he and Karrueche were allegedly not legally together, but were yet emotionally bonded. In 2015, Karrueche and Chris formally ended their highly publicized romance after several years, following a period of turmoil that included his adultery and his intermittent involvement with Rihanna. In interviews and social media posts, Karrueche discussed their breakup, saying that she had attempted to work things out despite all the obstacles, but had to leave because of Chris's actions and infidelity. Music, fame, and wealth are all important, but perhaps the most dramatic stories are the ones that happen behind the scenes. Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz. Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys first crossed paths in the early 2000s. Swizz Beatz, whose real name is Cassim Dean, was a well-known music artist and producer who worked with musicians such as DMX, Jay-Z, and Beyoncé. The same was true for Alicia Keys, who became a sensation after releasing Songs in a Minor, her debut album, in 2001. The musician and songwriter Mashonda Tifrere was Swizz's wife during the time of his love involvement with Alicia. It was evident that their love was coming to an end, and their marriage was already having problems. In 2008, as Swizz's divorce with Mashonda was being finalized, Alicia and Swizz's romance came to light. Due to the timeline of their romance, there was a lot of suspicion that Alicia had dated Swizz when he was still married. Mashonda publicly accused Alicia and Swizz of cheating, and there were rumors in the press that Alicia was the cause of their marriage's dissolution. Mashonda was extremely outspoken about how she felt betrayed, especially since she and Alicia had been friends before the affair. She even criticized Alicia for not being open about their relationship, expressing her hurt and fury in interviews and on social media. Both Swizz and Alicia responded by arguing that they didn't start dating until after his marriage dissolved. Christopher Bridges and Tamika Foster. According to reports, Ludacris and Tamika Foster first crossed paths in the early 2000s. Tamika Foster worked as a stylist and fashion consultant at the time, while Ludacris was already a well-known rapper and actor with a blossoming career. Mutual friends introduced them, and their bond eventually blossomed into a romantic relationship. In the beginning, the pair kept their relationship very discreet, but by 2008, they were spotted together. Although Ludacris had previously been connected to other women, Tamika turned out to be the one who would significantly alter his life. Tamika was still married when Ludacris and her started dating, which added another level of controversy to their relationship. Tamika's romance with Ludacris coincided with the dissolution of her marriage to television executive Ryan Glover. Public attention increased when some publications speculated that Ludacris might have contributed to the breakup of her marriage. The timing of Ludacris and Tamika's romance drew criticism from the general population. Tamika, a lady who was also involved in another marriage at the time, also came under fire from fans and critics who thought Ludacris had cheated on his previous relationships. In spite of this, Tamika and Ludacris appeared to dismiss the criticism and carry on with their relationship. Fantasia Barrino and Antoine Cook. In 2009, American Idol winner and R&B singer Fantasia Barrino met married man Antoine Cook. Originally from North Carolina, Antoine was then employed in sales. Fantasia was performing in North Carolina when the two first met, and their romance soon blossomed. The fact that Antoine Cook was married to Paula Cook at the time of his affair with Fantasia was what caused their relationship to be so heated. It was said that Antoine and Paula's marriage was already in trouble before he began dating Fantasia, and they had 2 children together. However, because it appeared to be directly related to the breakup of his marriage, the timing of their affair sparked a backlash from the public. The relationship between Fantasia and Antoine Cook was made public in 2010 when Antoine's wife, Paula Cook, filed a lawsuit against her. Paula said that her marriage had collapsed because Fantasia was the homewrecker involved. Many people criticized Fantasia for her relationship with a married guy, which caused a media frenzy. The public strongly condemned Fantasia since many thought she had deliberately courted a married man. In defense of herself, Fantasia stated that when they first met, she was not aware that Antoine was still married. She has, however, made conflicting remarks about the affair throughout the years, ultimately acknowledging that she did not make the best choices in her personal life at the time. Additionally, Fantasia talked about how hard it was for her to cope with the public humiliation and media criticism. Brandy Norwood and Wanya Morris. The two celebrities allegedly met at a music industry event and started dating in 1998. Both celebrities kept their personal lives low-key during their early years together, and their relationship was extremely discreet. The media, however, was immediately intrigued by their relationship because they were both young and gifted artists, particularly after they were seen together in public. Due to their immense fame at the time, Brandy and Wanya's relationship was frequently the focus of considerable media attention. In addition to her music, Brandy was well known for her appearance on the television program Moesha, while Wanya's group, Boys II Men, was among the most famous R&B groups ever. Their relationship thus caught the interest of gossip publications and tabloids. Wanya was around 25 years old when they started dating, and Brandy was 19. The two seemed to be very close despite their different ages, frequently going to events together and showing affection in public. The demands of their developing jobs and the ongoing attention, however, affected their still young relationship. Their breakup was the subject of gossip, including claims of infidelity and a lack of maturity. Wanya and Brandy, however, have never acknowledged any particular cause for the split. They just seemed to drift apart as they got older and their occupations changed. Cornell Iro Haynes Jr. and Ashanti Shaquoia Douglas. Their same musical interests were one of the main things that united them. In 2004, Nelly's blockbuster single Body on Me included Ashanti, strengthening their relationship even more. Before they announced their relationship to the world, many fans thought they had a unique bond because of their on-screen chemistry in the music video. Nelly and Ashanti finally made their romance public in the mid-2000s, following years of rumors. They were spotted together at a number of red carpet occasions, and it was clear they clicked. Together, they also made a number of public appearances, such as at the 2005 Billboard Music Awards and other prestigious occasions. Nelly and Ashanti's courtship was closely watched by the media, as is the case with many well-known celebrity relationships. Their relationship was the subject of continuous speculation by fans and tabloids who occasionally even questioned their allegiance to one another. Infidelity and trust concerns were also rumored, especially as their jobs became increasingly demanding. Because both celebrities were frequently in the spotlight, their relationship was under more strain. Despite their breakup, their bond and mutual respect for one another have remained intact over the years. Sierra Princess Harris and Nevarius Damon Wilburn. Soon after meeting, they became a couple after their professional relationship blossomed into a romantic one. Their collaboration on the song Body Party from Kiara's self-titled album in 2013 was one of the turning points in their relationship. Their chemistry on the song helped solidify their public reputation as a couple, and the song was a huge smash. Future asked Ciara to marry him in 2013, and the two got engaged. They announced their engagement with great fanfare when Future proposed with a huge 15-carat diamond ring. The media extensively reported on their engagement, and fans rejoiced at the couple's well-publicized romance. In spite of their engagement and public relationship, Ciara and Future split up in August 2014. Even though the precise causes of their split were never entirely established, several theories were put out as contributing factors. Although Future's claimed infidelity was never publicly verified, it was one of the most often cited reasons. Ciara clarified in post-breakup interviews that she didn't feel she was getting the attention she was due. The relationship had obviously fallen apart because of trust concerns, even though she didn't specifically mention cheating. After Future made remarks about her in public that Ciara felt damaged her reputation, she later sued him for defamation in 2015, claiming that he had done so for $15 million. According to her, Future's negative comments about her and their split upset her and harmed her career. Keyshia Cole and Daniel Gibson. Around 2009, Keyshia and Daniel came out as a couple after being regularly spotted together at public events and outings. Both were active on social media, frequently sharing intimate moments with their followers. Mutual admiration surrounded their relationship, and they seemed to be quite supportive of one another's professional endeavors. Keyshia frequently shared photos of herself with Daniel, and he would express his admiration for her musical and professional achievements. Daniel Gibson asked Keyshia Cole to marry him. The couple seemed to be in love, and Keyshia posted on social media about how happy she was about the engagement, which was widely reported. After Daniel proposed with a stunning diamond ring, the pair appeared to be moving forward with their future together. Over time, there were indications of stress in the couple's relationship. Allegations of cheating were among the well-publicized highs and lows of Keyshia and Daniel's relationship. They experienced trust issues because of rumors that Daniel had cheated on them during their relationship. Keyshia also talked candidly about her emotional conflicts in their marriage and her difficulties with trust. The couple experienced a time of separation in 2014, during which Keyshia was frank about the difficulties she was facing. Snoop Dogg and Shante Broadus. Shante first encountered Snoop Dogg as a teenager. Even before Snoop's rise to fame as a rapper, Shante has frequently talked about their relationship as high school sweethearts. When Snoop was at the top of his game, having just released his debut album, Doggy Style, they got married in 1997. Because of their solid pre-fame relationship, they appeared to be able to handle the demands of Snoop's ascent to fame. Snoop and Shante encountered difficulties, much like many other well-known couples. Their marriage suffered over time as a result of Snoop's lifestyle and popularity, which included the demands of being a well-known musician worldwide. Snoop has been transparent about his infidelity issues and how they affected their relationship. The couple separated for a while in 2004, and Shante filed for divorce. Although the exact cause of this was not made public, reports pointed to Snoop's infidelity, his rising stardom, and marital problems. Snoop even acknowledged in public his errors and how they contributed to their breakup. After the divorce proceedings were ultimately dropped, both parties appeared to get back together and work on their relationship in secret. Snoop and Shante publicly reaffirmed their marriage vows in 2008 as a sign of their dedication to one another and their family. In the couple's quest to regain trust and remain together, this was viewed as a positive step. Interestingly, they are still together and have a strong relationship despite the difficult times. Johnny Cash and Vivian Liberto. When Johnny Cash was in the U.S. Air Force in 1951, he met Vivian Liberto. Johnny was based in England at the time, at Lakenheath Air Force Base. A young woman named Vivian lived in the neighborhood and worked as a cashier in San Antonio, Texas. They were instantly connected after meeting through mutual friends. Vivian's beauty captivated Johnny, and his charm and charisma enchanted her as well. They started dating and soon fell in love. While Johnny served in the military, long-distance communication presented difficulties, but their bond held firm. In 1953, Johnny proposed to Vivian, and the two were soon married. Vivian and Johnny Cash's marriage had deteriorated to the point of dissolution by the late 1960s. A separation developed between them as a result of his addiction, his infidelity, and the strain of his job. After years of enduring Johnny's hardships, Vivian finally made the decision that she could no longer stay in the marriage. Vivian Liberto filed for divorce in 1966, claiming that Johnny's developing drug issues and adultery were the causes of their breakup. One of the things that led to their divorce was Johnny's romance with June Carter, whom he eventually married. June and Johnny had become close throughout their musical collaborations, and their strong emotional connection was a major factor in the dissolution of Johnny and Vivian's marriage. Kellis Rogers and Nasir Jones. In 2005, following several years of courtship, Nas and Kellis were married. Even though their wedding was a small, private event, their celebrity generated a lot of media coverage. Nas and Kellis were both at the height of their careers at the time. Nas was successful with albums like God's Son and Hip Hop Is Dead, while Kellis was successful with her music, especially following the release of her smash song Milkshake from her 2003 album Tasty. Many fans viewed Kellis and Nas as a power couple in the music industry because of their well-publicized marriage. Nas and Kellis even worked together professionally. Nas was in the music video for Milkshake, and Kellis was featured on the song You Can't Stop Us Now off his 2004 album Street's Disciple. Despite their seeming contentment, they had many problems in their marriage. As is often the case with high-profile relationships, their private problems were frequently in the spotlight. Accusations of infidelity and arguments between the two started to circulate. Their marriage took a turn for the worst in 2009 when Kellis filed for divorce. Although the reasons for their breakup were the subject of much speculation, the couple kept the specifics of their split largely confidential. The divorce, however, grew much more bitter as Kellis disclosed that she was then expecting their child. Knight Jones, the couple's son, was born in July 2009. Sean Combs and Kim Porter. In the late 1990s, model and actress Kim Porter met Bad Boy Records owner Sean Diddy Combs. When their mutual acquaintances initially introduced them, they clicked right away. Diddy was at the pinnacle of his musical career, and Kim was already establishing herself as a successful model. Soon after they met, the two started dating, and their relationship swiftly gained recognition. Diddy's notoriety and Kim's attractiveness made them an eye-catching celebrity pair. Diddy and Kim Porter's relationship was complex, with multiple splits and reconciliations. They had an on and off dynamic and were in a long-term relationship for more than 10 years while never being married. They enjoyed a family and a strong bond in spite of the ups and downs. Diddy and Kim Porter's relationship was frequently characterized as difficult throughout their time together. The couple split up and got back together multiple times. Their relationship was always strained as a result of Diddy's infidelity, his demanding job, and his hectic lifestyle. Kim, on the other hand, always encouraged Diddy's career, and in spite of their disagreements, they maintained a close relationship. Diddy and Kim split up for what appeared to be the last time in 2007. According to reports at the time, Kim had been annoyed by Diddy's incessant womanizing and their relationship's lack of commitment. Nevertheless, they maintained a positive co-parenting relationship and were dedicated to raising their kids together long after their split. Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani. Pop singer Gwen Stefani and country music artist Blake Shelton first crossed paths as judges on The Voice. In November 2015, a little more than a year later, they officially announced their relationship. But as it happens, their relationship didn't start out well. Shelton and Stefani were divorcing each other only months prior. Since they were still working together on The Voice at the time, it should come as no surprise that they supported one another through this difficult period and eventually fell in love. They might have kept their ex-partners in the dark about their romance at work, though. An unidentified insider claimed in an interview with Us Weekly that Shelton's ex-wife, country music artist Miranda Lambert, reacted negatively to the news that his new relationship was confirmed. She had her suspicions but didn't really know it was a real thing until the announcement, they claimed. Bush frontman Gavin Rossdale, Stefani's ex-husband, gained popularity after it was claimed that he had an affair with his kid's nanny. According to a source who spoke to TMZ, Rossdale believes that Stefani started meeting Blake while they were still together. Therefore, he believes he wasn't the only unfaithful member in the relationship. Who knows what else Shelton and the Just a Girl singer are concealing? If these rumors are true. Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel. Through a mutual friend, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel initially met in 2007. They dated for a short time before splitting up in 2011, but they soon got back together. Although they were frequently spotted together in public, the two kept their relationship largely confidential. They became engaged in December 2011 and were married in a lavish ceremony in Italy on October 19, 2012. Silas Randall Timberlake was born in April 2015, and their second son was born in 2020. Their marriage appeared to be going well. Justin Timberlake was at the heart of an infidelity scandal in November 2019. During Palmer production, he was seen holding hands with his co-star, Alicia Wainwright. There were speculations of an affair because of the pictures, which were taken when Justin and Jessica were still married. The public began to speculate about Justin's relationship with Wainwright after he was spotted sitting near to her in a bar. The photos swiftly went viral. The criticism came quickly, with many people doubting Justin's commitment to Jessica Biel. Shortly after the pictures were made public, Justin spoke out about the issue and the pictures. He apologized for his wrong behavior, but he disputed that he and Alicia Wainwright had a love relationship. He expressed repentance for the acts that had sparked the accusations and apologized to his wife, Jessica, for causing her needless suffering. Following the controversy, Jessica Biel said very little about the matter. Fans were left wondering about the status of their relationship when she refrained from publicly commenting on the claims for a while. But a few weeks later, Jessica showed her support for Justin and their family by posting a subtly worded remark on social media. They seemed to resolve the matter in private, and there were no outward indications that she was moving toward separation right away. John Legend and Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen and John Legend first crossed paths in 2006 when Chrissy was chosen to be the model for John's smash song Stereo music video. They both claim that it was love at first sight. Soon after meeting, they started dating, and they had a chemistry that was indisputable. John has frequently talked about how Chrissy's brilliance, wit, and beauty drew him in right away. John Legend asked Chrissy Teigen to marry him in 2011 after they had been dating for a while. On September 14, 2013, they were married in a secret ceremony in Lake Como, Italy, following a romantic engagement. With their loved ones present, the couple enjoyed a lovely wedding, and they used stunning photos from the occasion to show their happiness to followers. Although John and Chrissy's relationship has mostly been free of scandal, in 2020 they were briefly the subject of cheating rumors. Chrissy's Twitter encounters with other men were the source of the claims, including a well-publicized incident involving a purported romance with musician Michael Costello, who later claimed that Chrissy had bullied him on social media. Chrissy promptly responded to these allegations on social media and expressed regret for the pain she had caused. The rumors quickly died down, and John publicly supported his wife throughout this period. Biggie Smalls and Faith Evans. One of the most famous and significant rappers in history, the notorious B.I.G. met American R&B singer Faith Evans in 1994. When Faith signed with Sean Puffy Combs' Bad Boy Records, the two first crossed paths. While Faith Evans was working on her first record, she met Biggie. Faith claims that they clicked right away and that their romance took off. Although they were not together at the time, Biggie was already married to Jan Jackson, his high school sweetheart. In spite of this, Biggie and Faith fell in love, and a few months after they started dating, they were married in a private ceremony in 1994. Biggie's infidelity was one of the most widely reported aspects of his marriage to Faith. During their marriage, Biggie was believed to have had several affairs, the most well-known of which was his relationship with Lil' Kim. Their marriage is said to have been severely strained as a result of the affair with Lil' Kim, and Faith has spoken out about the adultery in interviews. Faith talked candidly in her memoir, Keep the Faith, about the anguish of learning of Biggie's infidelity, particularly the romance with Lil' Kim, which gained widespread media attention in the years after Biggie's passing. Faith was married to Biggie until his death in 1997, despite his infidelity. To uncover more intriguing stories among Hollywood celebrities, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. What if I told you that some of the most well-liked R&B singers, who are well known for their songs about devotion and love, had been involved in some of the most startling infidelity scandals in the history of music? From our power couple, Beyonce Carter and Sean Corey Carter, who remained together despite Sean cheating scandal to Mary J. Blige, and Kendu Isaacs, whose marriage ended after 15 years due to infidelity. Here are 15 shocking cheating scandals in R&B music history. Number 1. Usher and Tamika Foster. In the R&B industry, Usher and Tamika Foster's relationship was among the most dramatic and talked about. When Usher and Tamika Foster first met in 2005, they fell in love right away. The public was initially skeptical since Tamika, a stylist, was considerably older than Usher, who was at the height of his fame at the time. Even though Tamika was 9 years older than him, the two appeared to be in a passionate relationship. In 2007, they were married, but tension and turmoil quickly dominated their relationship. Usher reportedly struggled with his wife's domineering behavior and her public arguments with his family. He was the target of cheating rumors during his marriage, and his closeness to other women raised eyebrows. Reports of Usher's infidelity started to surface shortly after they were married, which were made worse by Tamika's alleged personal problems. When Usher married Tamika, many people at the time speculated that his relationship with Chili from TLC, his ex-girlfriend, had not quite ended. The claims were addressed by Chili herself, who acknowledged that she and Usher had unresolved feelings but denied having an affair. Usher's intimate relationships with other women, such as his backup dancers, stoked rumors of infidelity. Usher and Tamika's marriage ended abruptly, and they were no longer together by 2009. Following Tamika's divorce filing, which was based on irreconcilable differences, Usher immediately started dating Grace Miguel, who eventually became his wife. The heated custody dispute for their two kids, Usher V and Navid Eli, was what made their breakup particularly ugly. The dispute received a lot of media attention as Tamika accused Usher of neglecting their kids and being an absentee parent. Although the custody agreement was continually reviewed, Usher was ultimately given primary custody of their children as the drama played out in the courts. Tamika gained popularity for denouncing Usher in public interviews and on social media, calling their separation a betrayal. Given their highly prominent marriage and the effect it had on their kids, she was candid about the hurt she experienced in the wake of the incident. Did your favorite R&B artists actually maintain their loyalty, or did their relationships conceal shocking betrayals? Dive with me, let's find out. Number 2. Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz. The well-known music producer Swizz Beatz met Alicia Keys while married to fellow singer Mashonda Tifrere. At the time, Swizz was a top-tier producer for hip-hop and rap singers, and Alicia was one of the most prominent voices in R&B. Both of them were extremely successful in their own way. The fact that Swizz Beatz was still married to Mashonda when he and Alicia allegedly had an affair was what stoked the debate. Mashonda publicly expressed her emotions, saying she was devastated by the adultery and felt deceived by both Alicia and her husband. In an emotional 2010 interview, Mashonda talked about how Alicia and Swizz's friendship developed during their separation, which she said was the main reason for their divorce. According to Mashonda, she and Swizz had been apart for some time prior to the start of their relationship with Alicia, but she said that the timing was very upsetting for her. She said that she felt hurt and disrespected by Alicia's involvement at that vulnerable time in her life. Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz declined to criticize Mashonda in the media following their split and the public revelation of their personal problems. Alicia did, however, come out in interviews and defend her love for Swizz, saying that although they had fallen madly in love, their relationship was not the reason for his divorce instead. Before he and Alicia started dating, Swizz also stated that his marriage had been broken for a while, but the public didn't believe him. Alicia's relationship with a married guy and the secrecy surrounding its start made it one of the most talked about love triangles in the world of celebrities. Despite strong criticism from the public and fans, particularly those who felt sorry for Mashonda, Alicia and Swizz persevered and kept expressing their love for one another in public. In 2010, Alicia and Swizz Beatz were married in spite of the controversies surrounding their relationship. For many, their private ceremony wedding in Italy represented a victory over the tragedy of their past. Together, Alicia and Swizz kept up their public appearances, and as they resolved their prior problems, their bond appeared to become stronger. They welcomed a boy called Egypt as their first child together in 2014, and a second son named Genesis in 2019. Alicia has consistently shown her love and admiration for Swizz during their marriage, and he has often talked about how much she meant to him. Number 3. Beyonce Carter and Sean Corey. Carter. The historic elevator incident happened in New York City following the Met Gala. As they were leaving the event, Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and her sister, Solange Knowles, got into a private elevator at the Standard Hotel. What happened inside an elevator was recorded on tape by a security camera. Solange is seen violently assaulting Jay-Z in the footage, beating him many times and seeming to yell at him. Although some people saw Beyoncé's body language as awkward and uncomfortable, she seems composed and unconcerned by the conflict as she stands next to them. Jay-Z is seen raising his hands defensively at one point, but he doesn't physically respond. After a minute or so of the altercation, the elevator doors open and the three of them leave. The affair took center stage in the news in the days after the release. People were clamoring for answers, and there was a lot of speculation about what had transpired behind closed doors. Did infidelity play a role? Was Jay-Z unfaithful to Beyoncé? Was Solange standing up for her sibling? The story of Beyoncé and Jay-Z's relationship during this time was complex, with the elevator incident being only one aspect of it. In the years following the event, allegations regarding Jay-Z's infidelity started spreading more frequently, notably with the publication of Beyoncé's 2016 album, Lemonade. Lemonade was largely perceived as a very intimate album where Beyoncé addressed themes of empowerment, grief, and betrayal. Songs like Sorry, I Ain't Sorry, I Ain't Sorry, I Ain't Sorry, and Hold Up, You Can Taste the Dishonesty, It's All Over Your Breath, led many to believe that Jay-Z had cheated on her. The album's lyrics and visuals clearly suggested Jay-Z's infidelity. In 2018, Beyoncé and Jay-Z also went on the On the Run 2 tour, where they performed together on stage and demonstrated their collaboration and rekindled relationship. It appeared from their public appearances that they had not only weathered the crisis, but had also matured as a couple. Number 4. Tamar Braxton and Vince Herbert. Vince Herbert and Tamar Braxton fell in love right away after meeting in the early 2000s. Tamar saw Vince, a seasoned music producer well known for his collaborations with Lady Gaga and Toni Braxton, as a mentor early in her career. The youngest of the Braxton sisters, Tamar stood out in the industry because of her strong voice and energetic demeanor. After Vince and Tamar got married in 2013, Tamar's career took off after her album Love and War became a commercial hit. Rumors of infidelity began to surface, revealing the cracks in their marriage. For years, the world witnessed the highs and lows of Tamar and Vince's relationship, which became a popular topic for tabloids. Tamar and Vince announced their separation in 2017, shortly after which Vince was accused of adultery. According to Tamar's statements, their relationship had been tainted by betrayal, emotional abuse, and trust difficulties, and Vince had been unfaithful. Tamar made references to Vince's infidelity in interviews, but she didn't elaborate on the details of the cheating. She said that despite his constant presence in her profession, she felt emotionally drained and unsupported by him. Their 9-year marriage came to an end in 2018 when Tamar formally filed for divorce from Vince. Not only was the divorce emotionally taxing for all parties, but it also took months to complete and involved a legal struggle. During the divorce process, money was one of the main areas of conflict. Together, Tamar and Vince had amassed an opulent lifestyle, and their financial practices were a source of controversy. Since Vince, a significant figure in Tamar's work, had overseen her for the whole of their marriage, there were concerns about his ability to regulate her finances. Another significant problem was custody of their kid, Logan. Vince and Tamar battled for shared custody of their son, with Tamar focusing on her wish to give Logan a secure and nurturing home. Tamar talked openly about the emotional toll the divorce had on her, saying it was like a death to her. She admitted that the breakup left her feeling bewildered and heartbroken since she had put so much of herself into the marriage. Number 5. Kimberly Michelle and Mickey Memphitz. Memphitz, a music executive at Jive Records, started dating K. Michelle in the late 2000s. He was crucial in starting her early career by getting her a deal and providing financial support for her music. What began as a business relationship swiftly evolved into a love one. For a while, K. Michelle said she loved him and trusted him very much. But because of what she subsequently characterized as control, manipulation, and infidelity, that trust quickly deteriorated. In addition to discussing how Memphitz physically mistreated her, K. Michelle revealed on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta that he had cheated on her with several other women throughout their relationship. She claims that Memphitz wined and dined other women behind her back in addition to using the money from her record contract for personal expenses. She was emotionally and financially crushed by this treachery. K. Michelle described a relationship in which she felt used, both personally and commercially, while Memphitz reportedly departed from their relationship and took advantage of the benefits of her rising success in a number of interviews and songs. Memphitz denied every accusation made by K. Michelle, including the one about cheating. He said that she was fabricating a story to raise her own fame, and that their relationship had just ended abruptly. Though it was never officially confirmed, Memphis' marriage to Toya Wright, Lil Wayne's ex-wife, which occurred soon after his relationship with K. Michelle, only served to fuel rumors that there might have been overlap. That is, that he may have started dating Toya while still seeing K. Michelle. In interviews, K. Michelle made reference to this, implying that Memphis promptly changed her and attempted to upgrade to someone who was better suited to the media. She frequently made subtle references to Toya and Memphis' relationship, implying that it started before hers had ended. Number 6. Chris Brown and Karrueche Tran. In 2011, shortly after Chris Brown's scandalous breakup from Rihanna, model and aspiring actress Karrueche Tran met him. Karrueche seemed to be the quiet after the storm of his well-publicized history when they first started dating. The two appeared to be truly happy for a while. Karrueche was frequently spotted standing beside Chris at events and while on tour, and fans began to recognize her as more than just Chris Brown's girlfriend. When Chris Brown and Rihanna resumed their romance in 2012, while he was still seeing Karrueche, things drastically changed with the release of the now famous video, The Real Chris Brown, in which he solidly revealed his bewilderment and inner agony. Chris openly acknowledged that he was in love with two ladies at the same time. In his words, "When you share history with somebody, then you tend to fall in love with somebody else. It's kind of difficult. Is there such thing as loving two people?" The world watched as this love triangle unfolded. Devastated, Karrueche quit her relationship with Chris. However, they eventually got back together following his brief reunion with Rihanna. Nevertheless, the relationship was never the same, and trust was obviously damaged. When it was discovered in 2015 that Chris Brown had fathered a kid with Nia Guzman while still dating Karrueche, it was the final straw. Fans were shocked by the announcement, and Karrueche felt very betrayed because he had no idea he was cheating, much less that he was having a kid. Although Royalty Brown was born in 2014, the public was unaware of it until several months later. Naturally furious, Karrueche turned to Twitter to declare the relationship was over. After they split up, things only got worse. Chris made several attempts to woo Karrueche back, including through public displays of affection, social media rants, and even unannounced visits to locations where she was reported to be. Karrueche and many others recognized what some fans perceived as persistence as harassment. Karrueche told the court that Chris Brown had threatened her life, physically abused her, and sent her frightening letters in the past. In 2017, she requested and was given a 5-year restraining order against him. In court filings, she claimed that throughout their relationship, Chris had shoved her downstairs, struck her in the stomach, and threatened to beat the crap out of her. Although Chris disputed the accusations, the court approved the restraining order. Karrueche Tran came out stronger even though she was involved in one of the most well-known toxic relationships in R&B history. She became a voice for women in toxic relationships, concentrated on her work, and starred in the popular television series Claws. She shared her story, highlighting the need of seeing warning signs and avoiding emotional abuse and manipulation. Karrueche refused to be defined by the controversy. As an actor, businesswoman, and survivor, she established herself on her own terms. Number 7. Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon and Mariah Carey first connected while making the music video for Mariah's 2008 hit, Bye Bye. Nick, the youthful comedian, TV personality, and Mariah, the diva icon, had rather different public personas and were 10 years apart in age, but they fell in love right away. They were married in a secret ceremony in the Bahamas just 6 weeks later. Fans and the industry were taken aback by how quickly the romance developed, but the two appeared to be truly in love. The pair repeated their vows in extravagant manner almost every year of their marriage, and Nick frequently raved over Mariah in interviews. Trouble was simmering underneath the glitzy front they presented. Mariah apparently became concerned about Nick's increasing fame and his alleged relationships with other women as his celebrity continued rising thanks to hosting appearances on America's Got Talent and other ventures. Between 2013 and 2014, there were rumors that Nick was cheating. Despite the lack of hard evidence at the time, media said that Mariah was suspicious and envious, and Nick's flirty demeanor did little to diffuse the situation. Nick publicly listed a number of celebrities, including Kim Kardashian, with whom he had slept before, to his marriage to Mariah in an infamous 2014 interview with Power 106. According to reports, the interview caused Mariah embarrassment and strained their relationship. According to sources, Mariah felt Nick was disrespecting their marriage and her reputation by talking about his sex life in public, which infuriated her. Nick announced that he and Mariah had split up at the end of 2014, and the divorce procedure got started. There were whispers that Nick had cheated at this time, but he never came clean about it, and Mariah never accused him openly. But according to people close to the couple, Nick's party lifestyle and persistent flirtation were major factors in the dissolution of their marriage. At nightclubs and functions, he was frequently spotted with younger ladies, which Mariah apparently found upsetting. Since their breakup, Nick Cannon has fathered 12 children with several other women, frequently generating public discussion, criticism, and memes. Mariah, on the other hand, has kept her romantic life much more quiet and concentrated on her work and the twins. Unfortunately, betrayal and trust concerns may tear apart even the most spectacular celebrity couples, as seen by the charming relationship. Number 8. Fantasia Barrino and Antoine Cook. Around 2009, Fantasia got to know Antoine Cook, a North Carolina T-Mobile employee. Their romance swiftly becomes serious, but what was the issue? There was no forgiveness from the public, and Cook remained married to his estranged wife, Paula Cook. Paula stated that even though Fantasia knew her husband was married, she deliberately started seeing him. Paula Cook sued Fantasia in 2010, alleging that she had ruined her marriage and intentionally cheated on her with Antoine. According to Fantasia's legal team, Antoine and Paula had already split up when they started dating. Fantasia took the extraordinary step of appearing in court to defend herself, disclosing extremely private information about the relationship. She had made sex films with Antoine and had an abortion after getting pregnant by him. It was disclosed during the hearings. Fans and media outlets were both taken aback by these admissions, which presented a complex image of a lady torn between love, poor judgment, and a failing reputation. After a fight outside a nightclub in Charlotte, North Carolina in 2019, Antoine Cook was shot and murdered, tragically ending the romance. Fans were surprised by his passing, and despite their tumultuous history, Fantasia was devastated. Given their past, Fantasia's public expressions of grief and sadness at the loss revealed a complex range of feelings. Number 9. Kimberly Jones and Christopher Wallace. When Lil' Kim, born Kimberly Jones, was just beginning her career as a teenage rapper in the early 1990s, she met Biggie, Christopher Wallace. With the success of his debut album, Ready to Die, Biggie was already a rising sensation. After taking Lil' Kim under his wing and guiding her, he finally allowed her to join Junior M.A.F.I.A. Their work relationship soon developed into a passionate, long-lasting romance. Lil' Kim's life was greatly impacted by Biggie, both emotionally and professionally. A hip-hop power couple, they were frequently viewed as two up-and-coming celebrities who had a strong bond. Despite the difficult lifestyle that came with fame and the rap conflict that was then developing between the East Coast and the West Coast, Biggie and Lil' Kim remained fiercely devoted to one another. They were deeply in love and frequently helped one another through both personal and professional highs and lows. However, during their time together, there were whispers and speculation regarding Biggie's supposed infidelity. The notorious B.I.G. was accused by a number of individuals and industry insiders of being unfaithful to Lil' Kim throughout their relationship. Although specifics were frequently kept confidential, Biggie allegedly fathered a kid with a different lady while still dating Kim. Although Lil' Kim has admitted that dealing with these betrayals might be challenging, she has decided to concentrate on her own professional development. Unfortunately, the notorious B.I.G. was killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles in 1997. The crime is still unsolved. This ended their relationship. Lil' Kim was saddened by Biggie's passing and was forced to mourn not just her boyfriend, but also her mentor and close companion. One of the darkest periods in hip-hop history was Biggie's murder, which occurred only a few months after Tupac Shakur's passing. Number 10. Mary J. Blige and Kendu Isaacs. The queen of hip-hop soul, Mary J. Blige first crossed paths with Kendu Isaacs in the early 2000s. Kendu, a music executive and manager, soon became her love companion and also her manager. Around 2003, the two began dating, and in 2009, they were married. They were frequently shown as a power couple, combining Kendu's industry knowledge with Mary's superstar status. Kendu was heavily involved in Mary's personal life in addition to managing her job. Kendu and Mary had difficulties in their marriage. Rumors of dishonesty and adultery started to circulate over time. Mary has been open about the psychological suffering she went through, especially issues with trust and betrayal. Mary mentioned to the marital challenges in many interviews, detailing how she had to deal with Kendu's personal problems in alongside the demands of celebrity. Their relationship was said to have been an emotional roller coaster, with cycles of separation and reconciliation. After being together for over 15 years, Mary and Kendu announced their separation in 2018. Reports of the breakup were widely reported, pointing to the toll that the constant attention had placed on their relationship, as well as infidelity, suspicions on both sides. Using the grounds of irreconcilable differences, Mary filed for divorce in 2019. One of R&B's oldest and most complicated relationships came to an end with the divorce. Mary J. Blige has been candid about her healing process ever since the breakup. She has been open about learning to prioritize her mental health and well-being and learning to put herself first. Themes of self-love, empowerment, and overcoming betrayal were prevalent in her songs both during and after the breakup. Mary's story became more than simply a celebrity controversy. It became a relatable path of survival and growth because of her openness about the highs and lows of her marriage and the agony of adultery. Since their breakup, Kendu Isaacs has kept a quiet profile. Although there were rumors and accusations of infidelity, he has not addressed the claims or the reasons for their divorce in public. He still works in the music industry, but he doesn't share anything about his personal life, from secret relationships to public breakups. Number 11. Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston. In the late 1980s, Whitney Houston, who was already a worldwide celebrity, met Bobby Brown, who was the dynamic leader of New Edition at the time. After a brief romance, they were married in 1992 because of their evident connection. In the late 1980s, Whitney Houston, who was already a worldwide celebrity, met Bobby Brown, who was the dynamic leader of New Edition at the time. After a brief romance, they were married in 1992 because of their evident connection. After being hailed as a strong union between two prominent R&B artists, their relationship soon came under significant public attention because of their erratic behavior and developing personal issues. Soon, their marriage was marred by substance misuse, conflicts, and jealousy. Bobby and Whitney both battled alcohol and drug addiction, which had a significant negative effect on their relationship. Bobby was the subject of cheating rumors, and his actions apparently upset Whitney. Numerous accusations of infidelity were made against Bobby Brown throughout their marriage. Some were verified by insiders, but others were only rumors spread by media rumors and tabloids. Whitney allegedly supported him through several scandals, but his adultery and careless way of living really wounded her. The couple grew estranged due to Bobby's drinking and alleged extramarital relationships, and their arguments were made public. In interviews, Whitney frequently supported Bobby in spite of these difficulties, saying she hoped their love would triumph. Both Whitney and Bobby's substance misuse intensified in the late 1990s and early 2000s, which led to a tragic turn in their relationship. Whitney's health worsened, and her once famous career soured. After 15 years together, Whitney and Bobby were divorced in 2007, but their tumultuous marriage left them with deep wounds. Number 12. Shaffer Kimire Smith and Monayetta Shaw. The smooth R&B singer-songwriter Ne-Yo, who is well known for songs like So Sick and Because of You, was in a public relationship with model and reality TV star Monayetta Shaw. Although their romance was intense and appeared solid on the surface, it was ultimately marred by public anguish and infidelity suspicions. Around 2011, Ne-Yo and Monayetta started dating, and their romance soon developed into a committed relationship. The couple welcomed 2 children together. Many people interpreted it as evidence of their strong attachment to one another. They seemed like a picture-perfect pair for a while, frequently attending events together and posting peeks of their lives on social media. When the couple announced their separation in 2013, however, things took a different path. Immediately, there were rumors that Ne-Yo had cheated on her partner and that this was a major factor in their separation. Later, Monayetta spoke out about the matter, implying that she felt betrayed and heartbroken, but omitting many specifics. She said that although the separation was difficult, it was eventually essential for both her and her daughter's well-being. Though media outlets and insiders speculated that Ne-Yo's lifestyle and suspected infidelity were the primary causes of the separation, the singer has been more quiet about the separation. For the benefit of their kid, Ne-Yo and Monayetta have continued to co-parent in a somewhat amicable manner despite their split. Both have demonstrated maturity and respect in their joint parenting role by supporting their daughter's developmental stages, while Monayetta has concentrated on her profession and parenting. Madeline, Ne-Yo married model Crystal Renee in 2016 and has since had more children. Number 13. Ciara Princess Harris and Niverius Damon Wilburn. After working together on music, Ciara and Future began dating in 2013. They became one of the most attractive couples in the music industry very fast because of their evident connection on and off stage. When Future Zahir Wilburn, their son, was born in 2014, their supporters rejoiced over their expanding family. Future and Ciara appeared to be laying a solid basis for their future together as parents. Even though they had a positive public image, things became nasty in 2014 and 2015. Ciara was the target of rumors that Future had been having affairs with other women. Social media posts and leaked text messages that revealed Future's infidelity during Ciara's pregnancy quickly supported these claims. Ciara was distraught by the infidelity incident, which gained global media coverage. She was pregnant when the betrayal occurred, making it particularly devastating because it occurred at such a vulnerable moment in her life. In 2014, Ciara called off their engagement soon after officially announcing their breakup. She made it apparent that she was putting her health and her son's future first by expressing both courage and grief. Future issued a public apology for his errors, but the harm had already been done. Future's alleged infidelity dominated the story of their bitter separation. Ciara has moved on and found enduring happiness since their breakup. In 2016, she wed quarterback Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks, and the two of them have 2 kids together. Ciara has frequently discussed the value of forgiveness, healing, and prioritizing family. Future, on the other hand, has kept up his music career and has continued to create headlines by fathering many children with various women. Number 14. T.I., Clifford Harris, and Tiny, Tamika Cottle. In the early 2000s, Tiny, a singer-songwriter and well-known member of the band Xscape, started dating T.I., a popular rapper and actor. Together they have 3 kids, including Tiny's son from a previous relationship, and were married in 2010. Their reality TV program, T.I. and Tiny: The Family Hustle, frequently highlighted their union by giving viewers an inside look into their family life. Although they seem to be a power couple, several infidelity scandals have shattered their relationship over the years. T.I. came clean about cheating on Tiny when they were married. He freely admitted to being unfaithful in interviews in 2010, stating that it was a grave mistake, but that he was determined to mend their marriage. Rumors of Tiny infidelity have also been made about her. The reality program, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, contained claims that she had an affair with artist Mimi Faust, which was one of the most well-known occurrences. Although Tiny addressed the rumors, he withheld numerous information. The dirty and unvarnished side of their relationship was exposed by their infidelity scandals, which gained media attention and served as the basis for their reality TV drama. T.I. and Tiny have demonstrated an amazing capacity to patch things up and keep their family together in spite of the emotional suffering and public betrayals. By concentrating on their kids and their common past, they have resolved their problems. Fans were able to observe both the turmoil and the love that kept them together, since their reality program documented many of these hardships and healing moments. According to the most recent information, T.I. and Tiny are still married despite their many ups and downs. They still support one another's jobs and co-parent their kids, demonstrating that some relationships can withstand controversy by being steadfast and forgiving. Number 15. Omari Ishmael Granberry and April Jones. Midway through the 2010s, Omarion and April Jones crossed paths, and their relationship soon blossomed into romance. Omarion's life was profoundly impacted by April, who was already well known for her appearance on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, both privately and publicly. Together, the couple gave birth to a girl called Maya in 2018 and a son named Mega in 2016. On social media and reality TV, they frequently featured family moments, giving the impression that they were a strong and devoted family. With their numerous appearances together on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood and their loving postings on social media, they were viewed as one of the power couples in the R&B hip-hop reality TV industry. Behind the scenes, things were more difficult than they appeared. Omarion's cheating was the subject of rumors and accusations that surfaced in 2019, causing anguish and controversy. The cheating allegations were publicly addressed on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood when April confronted Omarion about his alleged infidelity. The emotional toll these problems took on their relationship was emphasized throughout the program. According to reports, Omarion had affairs while they were dating, which caused April a great deal of pain, particularly because they were raising little children together. Omarion and April formally broke up in late 2019. Through interviews, social media, and their reality TV appearances, the emotionally messy separation was made public. Both Omarion and April have stressed the value of co-parenting their kids despite their separation. For the benefit of their children, they have made an effort to preserve a respectful relationship and prioritize their well-being. They have both taken action to put themselves first. Omarion has persisted in her musical and acting careers, while April has expanded her role in reality television and started her own business. Omarion has periodically discussed the relationship's lessons, highlighting development and maturity. April has also offered advice on how to move on and get over betrayal. Since their breakup, both have been connected to other people, although neither has said much about their new relationships in public. To uncover more intriguing stories among Hollywood celebrities, don't forget to hit subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Catch you in the next one. Catch you in the next one. Catch you